العالمين الصلاة والسلام على محمد رسول الله ومصطفى أمين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. I testify that there is nothing or no one is worthy of worship except Allah, and I testify that Muhammad ibn Abdullah is the last and final prophet of Allah and the messenger of Allah. It is with these testimonies that I greet my beloved brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I would like to begin with the dua, the opening, and I will use the opening that is in the Quran, Al-Fatiha, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Malik Yawmuddin, Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in, Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim, Sirata alladhina an'amta alayhim, غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Ameen. Thank you so much for this meeting of the community service. Community services of masjid tawhid is hereby called to order. Some of you may recall that we used to have these meetings once a month, but it's been about 2 years since we've had a meeting. We're way overdue. And so we have many things to discuss, but even though there's a lot of things on the agenda, I still believe that we can wrap this up in about maybe 1 hour, or maybe just a little bit more. As typically, and Sister Hadassah and Sister Hussein will bear witness to this, even in Chicago, it seemed like the sisters were more excited about coming to meetings than the brothers. You know, subhanAllah. But that's okay, we still have work to do. Also, as a side note, there's been a complimentary lunch prepared. And so what we like to do is we like that, it's good if we finish up a good amount of time. I would like for us to eat our lunch and then have Salat al-Dhuhr. I think that'll be okay. Since there's very few brothers in attendance, when we serve the lunch, I want to allow the children to eat in here at this table over here. All right? I don't think we need to remind them to try not to be too sloppy. Just because we now have a robotic vacuum cleaner, we don't want them to overwork the guy. You know, but please, this is to the children and your parents. You know, we want you to eat in here and enjoy this, but just be careful, inshallah. And again, I'd like to welcome you. In offering an overview, most of you will remember, some of you used to come to me, so I always began all of the community service meetings the same way. I never assumed that all my ideas are the best idea. In fact, I don't even assume that my ideas are even good. But I also don't assume that my good ideas are approached the best way. So I like to empower and encourage the participation and adjustment and corrections, if necessary, of anyone who's listening. I echo the sentiments of Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu, after the death of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he was elected to be the chief or the emir of the Muslims. In his inaugural address, he said, "I am the least of you. If I'm right, support me. If I'm wrong, correct me." And I stand on that, and I utilize that. Okay. As I mentioned, the purpose of these community service meetings is to not only update the community on things that we're doing, things that we're planning, some things that we have done, but also to empower everyone to have some input on the direction of the community. And it is very important, even though that I'm a little embarrassed for the brothers who did not accept the invitation, but it is very important for the sisters to be in this meeting, even more important than the brothers, even though the brothers are supposed to represent the leadership, but the sisters have a degree of leadership as well. But the sisters' opinion is important. How can we possibly plan the future of the Ummah without the engagement of our sisters? That's impossible. Because if we're going to have soldiers, if we're going to have imams, if we're going to have shayukh, they're going to come from these sisters. You know, I haven't met, I don't know what they're working on in some laboratory or not, but I have not met one man yet who has the ability to become pregnant. You know, so we must engage and empower the sisters get their opinion. And some of you who may be recently attending this masjid, you may notice that we have something very unusual, that we have dedicated and earmarked a separate building just for the sisters' privacy, for their own enjoyment, you know, and we've been lauded for that. We don't want no pats on the back, you know, because the reality is we have strategy, because we know that once we give the sisters something that they can call their own, where they can have their own space, and it would encourage their activity, that we hope that it would also encourage the activity of the brothers as well. So we have a lot of things planned, and then one thing, and I'm going to let you inside my head a little bit. Brother Nordine teased me because that's one of my favorite slogans. Is Sister Amina?
Yeah, I apologize.
No, please, do not apologize. No, the one that, if anybody going to apologize, let the people in them empty chairs over there. But anyway, I want to let you inside my head. The reason why I'm so tired is not just because I'm sleep deprived, but mainly because my brain never stops. You know, I'm the least intelligent of everybody in this room. Believe me, my IQ is way below. I barely squeaked out of high school with a C- average. They gave me the diploma because they felt sorry for me. However, no one can outthink me. The reason why is because I'm always thinking. I just can't relax, you know. But it's for the community. It's for the children. It's for the generations yet unborn. It's for the strengthening of the families. It's for the miskeen. It's for the people in the community that need Islam but don't realize they need it, you know. And so it's for everybody else. So we have a lot of ideas, and I'm only going to share a few of the ideas with you today, because these are the things that I'm requesting and soliciting your assistance with. Now, we're going to always need your assistance, but the other ideas, there's too many to pile into this meeting, and the meeting will definitely last too long, and it will overburden everyone. But just a few things that we're currently working on, and some very near future things, we're going to talk about those. The other thing that I hope to accomplish is that everyone will see that we have departments, and I always demand, I command and demand that all department heads, all facilitators are highly respected, and I, including from myself, I have to highly respect everyone who I ask to do something who accepts that responsibility. Because what does that mean? That means that if I give someone a position or a post or a duty, then if someone comes to me and asks me about something that's the duty of that person, I'm not going to give them the privilege to go around them to get to me. That's disrespectful. Disrespectful. If I appoint someone to be a head of a department or whatever, you know, I don't even want you to ask for my opinion unless it's in the presence of that person, you know, and because it's disrespectful. Plus, it's a moot point. It kind of contradicts the whole point. Why would I trust someone to be in a position of authority or responsibility, and then I'm going to try to do it myself anyway? That doesn't make sense. However, there are certain things, it's the duty of all Muslims, that I enjoy doing, and I don't expect anybody to take that away from me. You know, some of my brothers, whose names I won't mention, you know, sometimes I sit close to them, they think that they're doing me a favor when they see me sweeping the floor and they give me that broom, brother imam, you shouldn't be doing that. You know, leave me alone. There's a ton of other things to do around here. You know, if you really want to help me do something that I'm not capable of doing, or there's something I might forget, you know. And so we want to make sure that if this community is going to run properly, and we get compliments all the time. Sister Nadia, you'd be surprised. What you just said to us when you came and sat down, we hear from everybody. No brag or boast. Everybody tells us how orderly, how organized, how nice the people are, how hospitable, you know. Alhamdulillah. You know, we appreciate that, but actually that's the deen. That's the way masjid should be embracing the people, not give them a bunch of strict rules that make them feel nervous. We do have some strict rules, but our strict rules are not designed to make people nervous. They're designed to make sure that everyone can appreciate what we have, Well, Akeem Olajuwon, some of you may have heard of him. He played basketball for Houston. He was our first donor. He was our very first donor. And when he came a few other times to donate, he came, I think it was the time he came to give us the money to build the wudu stations in there. But they were just regular bathrooms. This was a church. And after we finished it, he came to give us the rest of the money to pay the plumbers. And he said, my brother, don't let nobody mess this up. You know, that's the way he talked. You know, all them Africans talk like that, except Celine. He got that sweet voice. You know, but actually, so we have strict rules. It's going to be outlined. Some of these rules are going to be outlined by our commissioner, by our chief, and even a few words from my special assistant, Brother Celine, you know, and Sister Hussaina. Sister Hussaina, she's, you know, really, I have to keep her gun locked up, you know, because she's so intense about protecting the integrity of the house of Allah that I believe if she carried her gun, she'd probably catch a case, because she don't play. You know, so, but I want you all to understand that when these rules and regulations are put on the floor, it's not designed to make people feel nervous and uncomfortable. It's designed to make sure that everybody can enjoy the peace, the serenity, the order, the organization of this community. You know, so we have to have some kind of strict rules. And also, it's an example. That's why I always encourage the children to sit in on these meetings. And we might even let them ask a question. They can ask, if we open the floor for questions, they're allowed to also ask a question. But we want them to witness how we organize. We want them to witness also how we handle a disagreement. Because there may be some disagreements that's going to come up, you know. But there's nothing wrong with disagreeing as long as we don't become disagreeable. You know, so we're not going to always be on, we're in the same book. We're just not always on the same page. The book is the book of Allah. You know, but yet sometimes we see things. I like to look at it as right eye, left eye. You know, we see things, the same thing through a different way. Now, here's a little test I used to give when I was a motivational speaker for the Cleveland School District. I want everybody to right now hold your forefinger up in front of your face like this. Hold your forefinger up. Now, close one eye. Just close one eye. Just close one. You see it? Now, switch it and open that eye and close the other eye. What happened to your finger? What happened to your finger? Somebody. Huh? When you close one eye and open the other one, what happened to your finger? It didn't move. It looked like it moved. It's just two eyes seeing the same thing from a different perspective. So that's where we are. We may see things with the same thing to a different perspective. Yes, ma'am.
When I was in first grade, our teacher said the same thing pretty much about how looking at the same thing in a different perspective, and then she gave us an example, and children was able to stand on top of their table of the desk, which was kind of fun, and to see the woman that different perspective. So that was, I could never forget that.
Alhamdulillah. So that's what I want everybody to think about. So when we have a disagreement, don't assume the other person is wrong, or don't assume that you're right. Just take the best, apply the best construction and say, okay, I understand your point, but I also would like to consider this, and put it that way. And we can make a whole lot of progress. Okay, moving through this, I used to, when we used to have our community service meetings, I used to print a detailed financial report, a financial statement, and pass it out. The reason why I stopped doing that is because too many of the Muslims was leaving it laying around. Now, even though that our financial status is supposed to be public record because we're 501c3, that's not what it means by public. It doesn't mean have your financial report laying all over the place, you know. It means it has to be available to the public. And so I'm saying that now. If anyone who would like to request a copy of our financial statement, our bank balances, our income and expenses, just let me know and we will give it to you directly, you know, either later today or sometime this week. Just call, email, or come and stop in and we'll give it to you. And then when we finish remodeling, because we're almost done with the new conference center, there's going to be a locked bulletin board. And inside that locked bulletin board will be a copy of the financial statement. But it's not for somebody to just lay all over the place. That's why we stopped doing it. Okay, so we have the fixed expenses include our light bill, our water bill, our rubbish collection, the porta-john. You might ask, why is the porta-john important? The porta-john is important for several reasons, and it's like $120 a month or something like that. We've had it for a couple of years. It's, number one, because we're always getting some work done, and we don't like to try to keep explaining to outdoor construction workers why we have a certain way that we use our restroom. You know, men have to stand up, and subhanAllah, men have to stand up, and you don't wear your muddy shoes in the bathroom, that kind of stuff. The other thing too is that when we have outdoor activities, because we have a basketball court, children like to ride their bicycles and scooters, you know, and sometimes it's easier for them to run in and out of the masjid to use a porta-john. The other reason is, none of you brothers even know this, I use it more than almost anybody else. I'm always doing something out there, and really it's a hassle to run all the way inside and take off my boots, walk through the musalla, you know. So it's very, very worthwhile. Okay, let's go to some of the other fixed expenses. That our average income, we don't have an average income. Our Jummah prayer collection ranges anywhere from $400 per Jummah to around $1,500 per Jummah. It depends on what Allah puts in the hearts of the people. You know, our Jummah prayer is increasing. It went from 2 people where we couldn't even have Jummah. We only could have Salatul Dur. Sister Kanzi's husband was with me after we had our grand opening when Imam Siraj was here. For about 3 weeks, we couldn't have Jummah prayer. Nobody was coming. So I used to sit on the floor with her husband, and we just sit there and wait for Dora to come in. We pray Dora and go home. And now it's grown to being so full, we have to have 2 Jummah prayers. And the second Jummah prayer is twice the size of this masjid Jummah prayer when they first started. You know, but we have a lot of people, but many of them are struggling financially. So that doesn't mean that the collections are going to be big because we have a packed Jummah prayer. That means we're attracting people, and some of the people tell us that they pass by other masajid to come here for Jummah because they like the spirit. Again, echoing what the sister said. That spirit is important. Hospitality is important. I want all of us, even the children, to be very, very careful how we treat people when they come to the masjid. You know, and let them witness a politeness. Okay. Now, the incidental construction and repair expenses, that'll be on the report as well. That doesn't come out of the masjid budget, even though we don't really have a real budget because we don't have much money coming in. But whenever we want to have a project, whether we finish the front facade of the masjid, building the staging area on the side, right now we're almost finished with the construction of the conference center, and you all can take a peek at it to see how the progress is coming after when you get ready before you leave today. We go out and raise that money separately. Before the pandemic hit a couple years ago, fundraising was relatively easy. It was still a hard work, but it wasn't that difficult. I could travel anywhere on the planet, you know, and it doesn't matter how long, no matter what I expect. One time I went to Kuwait for a 20-minute meeting. I flew all the way to Kuwait just to meet with one person for 20 minutes. And I averaged $1,000 a minute for the masjid. So it doesn't really matter, you know. However, now it's a little more difficult. We got to think outside the box because everybody in every organization is doing fundraisers online and all of that. So we just finished a new commercial that we're going to do a launch good campaign. It's going to kick off just right before Ramadan. It's going to run through the end of Ramadan to the Eid, and we expect to get some help, inshallah. The current bank balances, the current bank balance is around $1,200 in that account. The Zakat fund, the one that we take money out to give it to people that need money, that account is down to $300. You know. Now, how do we do it? How do we help people when we only got $300 in the Zakat fund? Well, simply because we exercise our flexibility to rob Peter to pay Paul. You know, you shouldn't be talking about robbing people in the masjid, you know, but they're not real people, you know, because if somebody needs something, to me, it's more creative to get on the phone and call a light company and beg for more time and help this Muslim that's in need, you know, rather than to go to a Muslim that's in need and say, can you wait a little longer? To me, when I juggle the weight, I take my chances with the people who's in a position to wait, who got billions of dollars. But if you have a sister or an underemployed brother that's struggling because their rent is due or their lights getting ready to get cut off, you know, they don't want to hear, well, did you try the ISGH or can you wait a little longer? They don't want to hear that. They're not being arrogant. They said, but I need a problem solved. I prayed to Allah, but Allah directed me to come to you. And so I recognize that, and so I get on the prayer rug, and I say, look, Allah, you're the Al-Ghani. You're the rich. So you help me with these people. I can't do it. And Allah helps us. That's how we've been surviving. Okay. Okay, now we're going to start with the departmental and class presentations. I sent a text message to everyone that anyone who's head of a department or class to prepare something to say about your department or class as an update to the community. We're going to begin with the facilities and fleet management by our Commissioner, Nuruddin Abdul Latif.
My name is Abdul Latif, and I'm over the Department of, I'm the Commissioner over facilities and the fleet management. I assure that the fleet is in running condition. I sign it out to any of the believers that may be in need of a vehicle, etc. I also have the overall responsibility for the functioning of the facility in terms of its security and its maintenance. Different problems that we may have with the plumbing, the electrical problem, whatever problem we may have, I'm in charge of coming up with an idea of trying to get that resolved. I also work in concert and collaboration with the mayor directly and with Sister Hussein to ensure the proper functioning of the facility of the masjid. As I said, I'm over security. I'm in charge of finding the proper brothers, the right brothers to help us with security. And one of the brothers that we have on our forces, this is the chief of security right here. We hired. He's doing a very good job, and in a minute he's going to speak with you all. Also, in terms of maintenance, and security, some of the events that happens around here is up to the security to keep an eye on certain things and elements that come into the masjid for the protection of everyone in the masjid, inshallah. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to Brother Chief. Do you have any questions? Anyone have any questions? Come to that, Brother Chief.
Okay, the next, let me give me the mic first. Thank you, Brother Abdul Latif. The next one, our next speaker presenter will be our Chief of Security, Chief Ali Masood. One small adjustment to what the Commissioner said. We didn't hire him. We drafted him and dragged him into the staff kicking and screaming. You know? And we're working him hard because we only Allah knows how long he'll be with us. He's working for a company that's based in Libya. You know, and at any moment they can call him and tell him that he has to go back. So we pray to Allah that they never do that for a while, at least till we're done with him. You know, and so he's gonna now. He's very, very strict. I'm just warning you. Don't take anything personal. He's worse than Hussein, and nobody gets worse than her as far as being sensitive about this facility. So please take his statements in the positive spirit in which he offers them.
Bismillah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Thank you, Imam, for these nice words. And I ask Allah to give you all the strength and power and support to continue your mission, supporting the community, and so for the Commissioner, alhamdulillah. We praise Allah, we thank Him subhanahu wa ta'ala for granting us another opportunity to have another Ramadan, month of the mercy, month of the forgiveness. And I want to start with this because Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was taught by Jibreel one day when he was saying Ameen, Ameen, Ameen at the minbar. And then companions asked him, why you say this Ameen without any dua? And then one of the dua, one of the Ameens, he said, وَيْلٌ لِمَنْ أَدْرَكَ رَمَضَانَ وَلَمْ يُغْفَرْ لَهُ. Woe to who reached Ramadan or witnessed Ramadan and he is not forgiven. So let's back up as much deeds as we can during this Ramadan. I'm going to start with our statistics on the security. Alhamdulillah, so far no accident, no incidents. Days since last accident, 28 days. The last incident was a near miss by the fence, and which alhamdulillah was repaired, but nothing missing. Security involved for adults and 2 cadets. According to the Imam request to acknowledge what we have achieved in the past and what we have progress at the present, and our notifications and directives for Ramadan, I'm going to start with achievements here. I would say the main achievements we had is to have 2 watching cats. The 2 watching cats did a tremendous, incredible job and helped us. And everybody was thinking about how to fight the rats in the storage area. And alhamdulillah, by the will of Allah, Allah knows how serious we are. Allah knows how serious is the Imam and the sisters and everyone. Allah inspired the Imam to give the cats here. And since then, we work in a very clean, very perfect atmosphere in the storage. And the second achievement we had, we successfully had to convince all sisters, all brothers, for the back end parking. Now let me tell you why this happened, why this came to our attention. It was actually because of 2 Ramadans ago, maybe 3 Ramadans ago, when I was in the other masjid before I joined here. And I heard of an accident happened. And a little kid was playing in the parking area and a car ran him. So I never forget this. I never forget this. So that's why if you see Imam emphasis on the reverse parking, because what happens when you come parking, you know you're coming here, you're slowing down anyway, right? But when you go back, there might be some reasons that making you hasten. Phone ringing, someone is calling you, you don't think, you just want to go out right away. And maybe the accident happened. So to keep this going and make it more serious, let's imagine and think that accident I mentioned happened last Ramadan. So to achieve more success, more peaceful Ramadan like the past, alhamdulillah, let's compare ourselves from yesterday. Okay? So this is a very, very significant point, and alhamdulillah, I know there's some struggle in reversing back there. I know the yellow lines are almost going out, but alhamdulillah, Imam promised me this is going to happen soon. They're going to put new lines. Alhamdulillah. We have the alarm system. The alarm system is under upgrading, and alhamdulillah, Imam is following this up, and which will happen soon, and Imam can update on this. And we have the fire alarm system is working well. Alhamdulillah, we find all the hotspots equipped with the fire extinguishers. We have signs on all the exit doors. The camera system is working very well. We had added 2 patrol bicycles where we need to go around the city, so go around the neighborhood and watch out if any needies or someone is laying on the ground. We have the walkie-talkie system is working well. We have 22 gate openers is out for services. Alhamdulillah, we issued policy, security policy system. We have plans ahead, which Commissioner and I is discussing, and then we're going to present it to the Imam, inshallah, in order to facilitate some funds to achieve these plans. First of all, we want to protect the area behind the Women's Center where we always have been targeted by the thieves, and inshallah we're going to submit this as soon as possible. We would like from the clinic department to help us on providing first aid kits, at least 3 kits where we can use, because I remember last Ramadan we had an incident where a child had cut himself or he fell down, I remember, and we were looking for something to do. Then I saw some first aid boxes, but I believe we need to check them and see if we can replace them with new ones according to your advices from the clinic side. I mentioned the parking area yellow lines and the fire lane. I'm also following with upgrading project to the conference room to have all the smoke detector sensors in place, fire extinguishers, and all related exit signs and all this. And I'm planning to, with the commissioner, I'm planning to post the map of this location or the premises, which shows where the fire extinguishers, exit doors, and muster points. We recently suffered from slowdown in some points, which is personnel. The security officers. I mentioned earlier we have only 4 adults and 2 cadets. We used to have many. We used to have many. Last Ramadan there weren't many of them, but because of work, business, some reasons, everybody is running away. Like one day I will be running away too. They need to call me back. I have to go. So I would like to, anyone has brother, friend, close friend to him, to suggest to him to come and help us on the security activity here. We are all volunteers and we accept volunteers. We really need help in this subject. Now, I would like to start with the directives for the next Ramadan. Inshallah, there will be activity here. I know last Ramadan was crowd. We had visitors. We had too many brothers attending here, where sometimes we ate in two shifts, right? So I would like to double our focus again on the restless children. I don't want to see any accident. I don't want to see any injury in there. So this has to be very, very, very seriously taken in consideration. I hope we can have more brothers and also sisters. We will ask, this time we're going to ask the sisters' help to have someone sitting by. And they can change. I mean, if the prayers is 8 rak'ah, they can do like 4 on 4 or whatever Sister Hussein can come up with. I also suggest to shut down the working or the playing area by the basketball court, for during Ramadan. Another directive I have here, or recommendation, is all the appliances in the kitchen, especially the powered appliances in the kitchen, has to be very well handled. I would like to have them directly controlled through a person. So the person will be assigned there from the sisters or the brother to be his focus only on the appliances, because it will be too late if the fire takes place. In case of any violence, in case of any disobedience, the chain of command to report to, first of all, to me, and then I'm going, if I fail to fix it, I'm going to report it to the commissioner, and then we go from there. So chain of command is going to be always from the officers to me, to the commissioner, and then to the higher authorities. The muster point, in case of fire, the muster point will be nearby the gate, anywhere nearby the gate. And the muster point for the mass shooting, which Allah forbids, the mass shooting muster point will be at the heart of the masjid, like this area here. And if anyone in the women's center, they have to stay where they are and try to be behind the farthest wall there is. I believe I said everything I have here, and if I missed anything, I will catch up later. Thank you, Imam. That's good. Yeah. You have any questions?
I was going to mention that about emergency. Since you're talking about the security and emergency, the adults and the children, we do have the fire. Everyone needs to know that we have the fire box here. We push for emergency. We need to learn the protocol that, how it's used. The building should be blocked. The adults should know where they are in the building. Second thing is, our children, we need to do a drill every now and then, a fire drill, to show where we go. We were in here. If the fire's here, we go out this way. If the fire's here, we go out this way. We need to do a fire drill and teach our children to be alert about that. Okay. We do need to be aware of, because I wanted to have a first aid class, including first aid, CPR, and security of what to do in the case, how to drop, get out, we need to know that, because we do have children that unattended a lot, and which is the next thing I was going to mention, especially during Ramadan. I feel like no child should be outside. They should be with their parents, period. There have been instances, not here, but other masters from the travel, where kids are always outside, they're damaging people's cars, they're doing this, they're doing that, getting hurt, they get swollen, they get choked. Everyone here needs to have the CPR situations like that. But I feel like we need to, we don't really have a much, but we didn't do too bad last year, but we get a lot of people we don't see every day. We get a lot of people don't run down. That's when more Muslims come out to you haven't seen in years. Will come out and bring all their kids, and they just come and they focus on their own self, but they don't focus on their kids. So we practice with our children. We have to let them know this is our protocol here. So yes, we do need to be more mindful of that and being outside. But I think we should have a drill, maybe once a month, because I know we've done that many times. It should be done in the middle of the night or through the day, so brothers will know if they're staying overnight, what to do, where to go. This is very important. Or have the fire department come out and do a class with our children to let them know, how a fire drill is done and the importance of it, and making sure that our fire extinguisher and the box and all that. The box should be done, used by the children. We have to watch our children too, so they don't play with these, because if you pull that, they're going to come out, it's going to be some expense as well, and they don't like to have false calls out there. It's very important, because that's happened one time at the gate, and if it would happen again, they won't come out. It could be something serious. And then we need to know where the fire extinguisher, the fire hazard, what do you call it, fire thing out there? Outside, where they use the water. psychiatrist, right? We need to know how many we have. I think we have 2. It's really important for us to know that actually should be a drawing, which way we should go, this way or that way. You know, so that's something we learned from even in the women's center. You know, you have to be able to get out the front door, the back door, and have all that. So that's a good thing. So I think that's good about that for security. I do help with security, sisters know, and for the routine of, I know all of us know that we go to the door on Fridays, coming through the back, and we try to avoid only because there's so many brothers that here, we try not to have the contact. I'm in and out for other reasons, but we try to get some saying that so if you happen to be in the masjid, I'm not here, maybe I can talk to the eyes open to keep our circulation, how we set up so we have more control, respect for the masjid, respect for prayer, respect for security, each other. Okay?
Pastor Mike.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm in disagreement with the basketball court being closed for the children, only because I've been to many masjids that maybe 3 or 4 or 5 times in this place, and their masjid have a playing court for everybody. So during Ramadan, everybody comes, they want to come together, they want to pray, and so on and so forth. But there are mothers who, you know, are not praying, otherwise they're going to be leaving out of the masjid. The children, they can supervise out there while they're playing, those who are young enough. All I know is that this is a time where we really see our youth participating together. They get to relate to other children that they may not see. And to me, if it was me, because I'm a mother of 11, and I lived across the street, I would make my prayers, but I would go somewhere where my children can relate to other children. Besides prayer, they can have the option. You see what I'm saying? But I've known that has been one of the best memories my children can say during Ramadan. We fasted, we came together, we also had fun play. And if we don't have the supervision to watch them or anything, then I can see that. That's it. That's the only reason. Okay? Yeah.
I just wanted to say that I am a CPR and first aid instructor. So, inshallah, we can work out and then get like little cards for anybody that does the class and stuff like that.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I want to respond to Sister Amina's concern, and also reflect on to get inside the head of the Chief of Security. Her concerns is valid. She's making a valid point. However, the point of the chief is equally valid if we readjust the structure, because there's a lecture I gave in Toronto called "When did the children play?" I agree that there are some children, even some of our youth, is even when they're fasting, have enough energy to play. You know, however, and we have enough time to adjust it. We want to take your concern under consideration. We would like to sit and talk with the chief and to arrange it, because one thing that I definitely dislike is when the salat is when someone is praying, whether it's Tartawi or they don't have to be in the prayer if they don't want to or not. There should be nobody playing when the Muslims are praying. You know. Now, so with that adjustment, because there's even adults that are guilty, it's not just the basketball players. There's adults who, when they say, well, we don't have to be anywhere. I'll do a few rak'ahs. They go outside and socialize, smoke cigarettes, crack jokes, while Muslims are praying to Allah in Ramadan. And so I would like to suggest that we sit and talk with the chief, talk with the security team, you know, and make some type of adjustment with that consideration. Now, having said that, I have some first-hand experiences. When we were living in Sugar Land, and we were right near Mariam Masjid, where they have a full-court basketball court, there was brothers that wasn't even part of the Muslim community, because they didn't keep their gate closed like we do. They were playing basketball with some Muslims during the prayer. They got into arguments, fight, profanity, and everything. I had to leave the prayer to go outside and stop the commotion, and I stopped. I was almost as old as I am now. I had to go inside in the middle and try to hold them back, to try to stop the gang fight over a basketball game. And then some of the Muslim brothers that was there was so passive, you know, they were saying like, you should let the kids play. You know, I said, they were getting ready to, this is Ramadan. It's supposed to mean something. So the reason, that's just one example, you know. So what I'm saying is, there is a way that we can adjust it so that the prayer is being respected. Now, we did put a sign up on the basketball court a couple of weeks ago. And we put the sign up because there were some children, that some young boys, that felt it's okay that go ahead and keep playing, not only while the adhan was being called, but when they comma and it was time for salat. So we put a sign that said no ball playing during salat or adhan times, you know, period, adhan or salat times. And so if we set some perimeters, then we can have the best of both worlds. However, one point we want to be careful, and I'm not going to be part of the discussion. I'm only suggesting and encouraging that these parents that got the young children to sit down and talk with the chief and the commissioner and arrange something. You know, one thing that I disagree with is some masjids that I've traveled to, they use the basketball court as a bait for the young people and say, oh, while you're here playing basketball, maybe you might want to consider praying. It's supposed to be the other way around. While you're here at the masjid for salat, then if there's time, then you can play some game, play some basketball. It's supposed to be that way around. The basketball court is not meant to be bait. Say, okay, they'll come to the masjid if we have a basketball court. We spent 7 years in this masjid without a basketball court for that reason. And when I finally put it there, and we want to have perimeters, it's not necessarily a hot topic, but it's something that demands discussion so that we don't, you know, eliminate or ostracize the young people. And then on the other hand, we have to remember too that some of the young people, they're not coming here during the daytime anyway to play basketball. Not in this neighborhood. They're not coming here to play basketball. They're not here anyway. So if we tell the chief, okay, chief, because he'll come to me, so okay, we'll shut it down during Ramadan. What he's really saying, shut it down during the salat, because no one's coming here during the daytime anyway. You know. So those are the things that we want to think about to put in the discussion. I just wanted to explain those points, inshallah. Is anybody here?
Assalamu alaikum. Last year's Ramadan, when we were praying Tarawih, some in this masjid, some of the brothers, which I'm not going to mention some names, we were praying right here. They used to have the balls, the basketballs, and then they used to bang the doors and the wall, so distracting themselves from praying the Salah. So because of that, that's why say like we have some instructions and restrictions, but inshallah that's the security and the commission. Inshallah they will talk about it. Inshallah. Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum.
I had totally forgot about those two incidents. It happened twice, I believe. And we were praying Tarawih prayer. And our Tarawih prayer is not long. We're not trying to finish the Quran. We just do one page for each rakah. Boom, 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 boom. Hey, hey, hey! During the salat. I said, wait a minute now. Why aren't they in here? And if you're too tired to pray, just sit down and watch everybody else pray and thicker. But so that's one of the things that made him say not doing Ramadan. So we make an adjustment. And while we're on some security, I made a couple of notes before we pass the microphone down. When I was the head of security in Cleveland, I had issued a ruling that I didn't want any Muslim sisters going to any gas stations by themselves, day or night. That when their gas tank starts getting low, they come and find some brother or some guardian or someone to either escort them to the gas station to fill the tank for them, or let somebody take their car and take it and fill it up for them and bring it back. You know, and so one sister said, "Who you think you are? You can tell me what to do. I'm grown." I said, "I think I'm your brother. That's who I think I am. You know, I'm responsible for you." The Quran says men are made or protectors and maintainers of women. It didn't just say protector and maintainer of your wife or your daughter. You know, our responsibility. Because what will happen if somebody mess with one of the sisters at the gas station, then we got to put our life on the line to do something about it. And so I have the same rule here. And some of you sisters will know that. You know, it's just the same will remind you, say, get ready to listen to how's your gas tank. If it's anybody below a half tank, you know, wait a minute, let somebody fill your tank up for you or let somebody follow you to the gas. I don't like nobody messing with the sisters. I know you're tough. Some of you sisters raised on grits. You can handle yourself. I don't want you having to deal with somebody who said, "I don't mean no harm, sister. I don't mean no harm." You know, it don't matter if they mean harm. I don't want nobody messing with the sisters. That's the way that we are here, you know. And so that's our ruling, you know, inshallah. The second thing is, as far as the kitchen, this is a real quick statement. We don't have to worry about special rules for the kitchen when the conference center is finished, because it's going to be redone, and certain people will have access to it anyway. We don't have to worry about even locking the kitchen door, because the whole conference center is going to have a different atmosphere, so we don't have to worry about problems with old cold pizzas laying around and stuff like that, inshallah. The other thing I'm going to talk about for the Ramadan iftar is going to be for later on in the meeting, inshallah. Okay, now, with that being said, the next presentation is for community services by the manager of community services, Sister Hussaina, inshallah. And I forgot to put on here the activity or whatever in the Women's Center. So after you deal with the community services, Sister Hussaina, then if you have any comments or any other sisters working with you have any comments regarding the Women's Center, you can add it on to the end of your report, inshallah.
For the food service, as you know, everyone knows,
Your mic on?
we have some guests here as well. We have a food service that we serve the community, anybody in need of food. We have a warehouse behind our masjid here, and we're blessed to get a lot of donations from different resources as we do outreach. And so our storage right now is full, and it do need to be reorganized, and I do pray to Allah that we can get more help to organize it to make it easy for us, easy for everybody. That includes brothers and not just the brothers, but we also need some help with the sisters as well. And we have furniture too. We get occasionally, we get through our website. I do outreach, and some of our donors, they do outreach as well. And they contact me and let me know when we have furniture. For the record, we had a lot of bad experience on getting just any kind of furniture. Our people here in this masjid, here in the community, has dignity. They want the same thing we want. We want them to have what we want, so we ask anyone who can outreach for us and get calls about furniture or know someone, make sure the furniture is decent, clean, bed bug free, no stain. We don't want them to have garbage and just anything. So we ask them in a nice way, could they please make sure that it's something that they really would love to have. They have will keep from this stuff with other share. I'll put it like that. Because, you know, we don't want to clean up our dumpster out here. Cost us $200 when they come out, when we have to fill it with stuff that they gave us to give to the people. We have to put it in our garbage. So we're asking that whoever do outreach for us or know if anyone want to get furniture, we like real nice furniture, real nice. We're not taking clothes right now because since the pandemic, I haven't opened the gate to walk in. We do mostly drive through. And when we do get some clothing, we'll put it on the table if it's a nice quantity of clothing and make it easy for us. We have it already pre-folded and sizes. Other than that, I'm not taking clothes right now. Our supplies pick up and distribution is Commissioner help us, and the brothers, they pick up things for us to bring here for us to we donate it, and so we can take it out and distribute through the weekend. Most of our groceries we give out when we don't have an open day is done on Sunday after real prayer. And then we try twice a month, sometimes open a day, because we have the clinic open up twice a month. So when the debate is open, we try to offer food as well, because someone's always in need of groceries. And then we take a name and list of people who need furniture. Our collaboration with the Sutra, they're always available for us. We do need more help with that, picking up loads of, sometimes we get pallets and pallets of groceries and foods and furniture. We always need the help. We're trying to find more space to put this supplies. And I want to mention that it's not on here, that we do have a U-Haul rental place. They're small, we need more, but we just need more funding money to expand a little bit. So anyone would like to contribute towards that, it would help us a lot. And I wanted to mention, I know the watch tax was mentioned earlier, but that's very, very, like you said, they play a very, very important part in this, because when we opened up the warehouse, we didn't have any trouble with the rats. And when it got built, somehow they found a secret way of getting in there. We haven't found the place, and we noticed they were getting in. So we took it upon ourselves to bring the cats that we had down here. They're doing a wonderful job. So they're our security cats now. We let them out through the day. They know when to go back and be on guard. They even let us know when to do the job, but they let us see evidence. That's what they've been so they've been doing a wonderful job. So they got adjusted to all the nuisance coming in. At first they were shy. Now they come out, they might love to get you. They love to hear the greeting. So they're doing a good job as well. So we just need the brothers when they're here to make sure they're okay, that they have food and fresh water, and their kitty and their cat litter is being checked often, so the place can stay nice and clean and shut up. So that's why we really need to get it organized and get old boxes out of there, get everything clean, keep it real clean, because so far so good, we've been doing a wonderful job. For us, the Women's Center, we've been doing some changes there as well, doing some, trying to regroup on since this pandemic, trying to get it back together with, focusing now with the younger kids, with the younger youth. We have Lady Talk done every month with the little girls talk, and everyone's trying to work and get back on their feet. So we're trying to offer as much as we can for our sisters to get together and have our sister united politics, and how many persons are trying to set up some activities for them to give them these things to do better. We're still working with the young girls for us on their etiquette and manners. So any input from the sisters or service they have, time they have, feel free to get back together and collaborate and try to build another group of whatever activity we do for the big usage of our Women's Center as much as possible. So,
Make sure the mic is on.
Sorry, I just wanted to offer up to the ladies, if anybody wants to assist with doing like a young girls class, like they gave some feedback on some of the topics that they want to talk about, like jobs and careers and stuff like that. And sorry, I have a whole list, but if you guys, any of the women, if you're interested, please, it would be great. The talks are only once a month, but if it's something that you know about or want to share with the girls, that would be awesome.
yeah. Also, Sister Nora's going to be, I'm trying to get sisters to alternate every month. We have some type of activity for us to come back together, and I have a couple of sisters already scheduled to do a workshop. Sister Nora, we're doing her. So first notice, we had to cancel the date, but we already prepared a date, trying to prepare a date for her to do her workshop for us. So just we'll try to get it on our website and also to WhatsApp. So if a sister would like to do a workshop on something, I'm going to try to get Sister Anita, we'll definitely do a talk on the health as well. And, we would like to see the brothers start something with the younger boys. Yeah, I just said that as far as the young boys, I already talked to Brother Salim, and he's going to talk to a couple of brothers to start something with the young boys.
Sweetheart, now here. Before we pass the mic, also, I want to mention about, because you mentioned the storage facility in the back. One more emphasis. We talked twice about the watch cats. Literally, this is no exaggeration. If Allah had not created cats and gave them that nature, we wouldn't be able to have that facility in the back. We wouldn't be able to have it. It'd be impossible. I was in Memphis recently at the Imam's retreat, and they almost had to shut down their storage facility because of the rats and mice. You know, but what they did, they dropped it all the way down just to canned goods. They had to stop doing rice, pasta, potatoes. They had to stop all of that and just give them canned goods. I said, man, this is cats, man. You know, Allah, it's in Bukhari. Allah created cats for rodent control. So and the reason I mention that because we ask, I don't like for the sisters to have to clean up after the cat did, because I found some scientific evidence many years ago that the aroma of cat feces is harmful to women's reproductive system. You know, and so I know some of you say, well, I don't have no more babies anyway, but no, we'll deal with the cats. But we're asking the brothers to chip in, making sure the cats are taken care of, because without them, our community service will be very, 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 very limited. Also, I talked to the youth that was here on Friday night, and they all agreed. There was about 8 or 9 of the brothers that were here. They all agreed to bring work clothes next Friday night to help rearrange and reorganize the storage room. You know, so those of you who have young boys that may not have been here that night, on next Friday night after Salat Maghrib, they could probably do it if there were a little unity between Maghrib and Isha, and they get cleaned up and get ready for Isha prayer. That everybody chip in, and because some of the boxes have to be emptied out, restacked, and Sister Hussaina she'll direct it on the best way to organize it, and some of the brothers they help get stuff out of there as well. And so we're asking, so the youth is going to come for that inshallah next Friday. Having said that, the next introduction is for our Arabic and Quran and Tafsir instruction. We have 3 Arabic teachers here at the masjid. I know I can teach a little bit, but I think everybody deserves the best, you know. And so we have brother, who is my special assistant, Brother Salim Omar, who teaches the Hifz, and he teaches Tajweed. We have Ustaz Talibuddin, who he studied in Yemen, and he got a degree, you know, so he teaches the Arabic for the grammar. And then we have Brother Ustaz Ali Masood, who's our chief of security. He's really, really good with Tafsir, you know, may Allah bless him. He's spontaneous. We don't even have to, he don't have to advance preparation. So all 3 of those brothers, I'm going to pass the mic now to Brother Salim, and then Brother Talibuddin wasn't able to make it today, but when he asked for input from the other brothers and any requests from anybody regarding any classes, then you can direct them to Brother Salim and Shaw Ta'ala.
بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. السلام عليكم. Inshallah, I'm going to talk about 4 different things. First, I'm going to talk about the Quran for the kids, the Quran for the adults, and then the Arabic classes, and then the Ta'aleem, inshallah, the Taraweeh, Ramadan, inshallah. So the first thing is about the Quran. Of the Quran, so we'll be having the Quran classes for both brothers and sisters, adults, inshallah, for Ramadan, inshallah. I haven't thought of a time, but inshallah we can just sit down and inshallah figure out the time, inshallah, that's the first time. And then for the kids, inshallah, the kids will continue, it's from Dhuhr to Asr on the weekends. So from 1 to 4, inshallah, that's for the kids, inshallah we'll continue. And then about the Quran, inshallah, and the reason why we continue for the adults is because inshallah we want some of the brothers to lead Taraweeh prayers, the first 2 rak'ahs. Our main focus is the youth. Inshallah, we have 3 of them, inshallah. That's Brother Muhammad is sitting right there in the back. And Brother Muhammad Abdul Latif, the son of Commissioner, alhamdulillah. And then the second one is Abdul Hakim Zemana. And then the third one is Abdul Tawwab Muhammad. Inshallah, those will be the three youth. Inshallah, will be leading the first 2 rak'ats for the entire Ramadan. The first 2 rak'ats. Inshallah. I know that school is going on, so inshallah, I will try my best not to make it hard for them, inshallah. So inshallah, you don't have to worry about school. I will take care of it, inshallah. And then the second thing is about the Arabic classes. So we have the Arabic classes right here with Brother Talbuddin. Brother Talbuddin is a brother who studied in Yemen, in Darim, at a university called Darul Mustafa. It's in Yemen. Alhamdulillah, he has a degree and he focused in Arabic. So his main focus was he studied Arabic. So Alhamdulillah, and he usually teaches in the masjid tawhid from 10:30 to 12 on Saturdays. Inshallah, that on Sundays from 10:30 to 12. Inshallah, and he will still continue teaching the Arabic classes during the Ramadan too. Inshallah, we won't stop. Inshallah, and he's right now he's going through the book, the Medina course, which has 3 series: first, second, and third. So far, he's in the first book. Inshallah, he has a plan to finish the entire series. Inshallah, okay. And then he also has another plan where he wants, once he finishes the first series, the first book, he wants to start like a grammar book for Arabic called Al-Jamia, inshallah. So he wants to focus on the grammar once he finishes with the first book, inshallah. And again, the Arabic classes will continue during the Ramadan, inshallah. And then the third thing, it's about the Taraweeh, alhamdulillah, I've already mentioned. So yeah, the 3 brothers, inshallah, the three youth brothers, they will lead the first 2 rak'ats, inshallah, and we will try our best to make sure that it doesn't affect the school, inshallah, alhamdulillah. Okay, any question?
Will we still be having the Talim on Sunday, inshallah?
Yeah, the Ta'aleem, inshallah. Like last year we also had Ta'aleem during Ramadan, but the last 10 we might talk about the last 10. The last 10 where people where we usually stay itikaf. We want everyone have to focus his on. So inshallah. So the last 10 we will the kid Arabic the Quran for the kids will stop, inshallah. Quran for the kids will stop. And Ta'aleem also will stop, inshallah. And the Arabic classes, we might even stop, inshallah. We will see, inshallah. So, just the last 10, inshallah, we will have itikaf in the masjid world. So, whoever wants to do itikaf, inshallah, the brother, you're most welcome. And the sister, inshallah, have one of the mahram, inshallah. Alhamdulillah. Another question.
Bismillah, I'm glad that you mentioned that about the last 2 nights. So our slight adjustment will be that all of our Quranic and Islamic and educational activities will be for the first 20 days of Ramadan. After that, it's more it's for the individuals, inshallah. Now, with regards to itikaf, since it was brought up, the itikaf actually. Islamically, itikaf means seclusion in the masjid. Now there's nothing wrong because the way our facility is. There's nothing wrong with some sisters that want to stay in the women's center. But technically, it's not really itikaf. It's not in the masjid, of course. But then here's the technical approach. We actually put a musalla in the women's center. That one corner over there where they're facing the Qibla, that's the sister's musalla. The only thing that's not there is a minbar. That's because anybody gonna be preaching over there. So actually, since that is part of the masjid facility, the sisters who have the permission of their guardian or their husband can stay there. If the only way a sister can stay here inside the masjid during itikaf, if their husband is here, you know, inside the masjid also doing itikaf, they'll have that wall over there, you know. But if they're not, but if you don't have a husband or an adult son that's here, or a brother, if you don't have a blood relative here, it's going to be also an itikaf. And the sisters who want to stay over, they can stay in that section of the masjid facility in the women's center in Shaw. Okay. Just all I want to mention on that. The next thing on our agenda is the Health and Wellness Clinic. It's being managed by Dr. Yaman Abdullah, the Sister Hanifa Brown, and Sister Hadessa Plummer. I'd like to give the two sisters who are nurses here, both of them, time to talk about the clinic, what they see, what they would like to see, and how we can improve it, help to improve it. Show it.
I'm very grateful to the Imam for his insight on providing a health and wellness clinic here on the site of the masjid. We have been having a few patients that's coming in, and it's very rewarding. It's very wonderful to see the looks on their faces when they come in and they can be treated free of cost. Sister Hadessa is amazing. She actually bought a pair of glasses for a patient last week. And I thought that was going above and beyond for sure. It's rewarding, and I'm just very grateful to be a part of it. And inshallah, the patients will continue to roll through here. I really appreciate everything that you all do here at the masjid. It's a beautiful environment, beautiful people to be with.
To what you just said. And then just that we're only seeing adults right now, but inshallah we're hoping at some point before the year is out to start seeing kids as well. So that's the game plan. But alhamdulillah, it's been great. I know last month and this month we're doing once a month, so we are going by the doctor's schedule. So if you guys know any other doctors that might want to pick up a day or so, that would be awesome as well. But alhamdulillah, they've been great to work with. Dr. Abdullah, I know he's not here. He may be traveling, but alhamdulillah, whatever it is that we need for the clinic, he just usually goes out and gets it, or Sister Hanifa will get it. So alhamdulillah, we just kind of been working together, and whatever it is that we need for the clinic, we just kind of been working as a team and making sure that we get it. It started out really slow, but now patients in the community, now they know that we're here, and they're referring other people. So inshallah, I think it'll be really, really good, and I'm just happy to be a part of the team.
Also, just a reminder, it was mentioned earlier when the chief was talking, and I think one of the nurses chimed in about the first aid kits. It is really important. I would like for the chief and the two nurses to sit down and talk about maybe we need to change the type of kits we have completely, have a real comprehensive. It doesn't make sense that we have a clinic, but we have real cheap first aid kits, you know, that people can buy from anyway. So we want to be prepared for anything. We would hope that we don't have to call 911. We'd like to have a better kit. So we need advice from Sister Hanifa and Sister Hadessa on what type of kit we should have. Don't worry about the cost. Allah will give us the money, you know, but we want to have the best things inside of that kit, you know, and then talk it over with Dr. Yaman, because he helped us to get donors as well. Then now on the next item was supposed to be a new appointment, but even though I draft some people to positions without giving them an advance notice, at least I like them to be present. And brother, I'm developing a new position called Youth Development Coordinator, but we need someone who's not quite a youth to do that, who can relate to the youth. And that best person we have in our community is Brother Muhammad Abdullah. He's not here today. He wasn't able to make it. And neither is Brother Abdul Hakim, the young Abdul Hakim. They need to be here so we can talk about that position. But we will talk about it later. If we officially appoint it before the next community service meeting, we'll send a text out to everyone and describe what we'd like for them to do. Meanwhile, you can read what we have in the notes. The next is prison services. Abdul Khalid Musawir is the director of our prison services. He wasn't able to make it this morning. He has some serious urgent family business to attend to, but he did contact me. Just very briefly, well, he takes a lot of burden off my shoulders because we get letters regularly and several times a week from brothers in the prisons, occasionally a sister, but mostly brothers. And most of the time, they just want some materials. And he lifts that burden off me. You know, he gets into the Dawah office and he gets the material, whatever, and he mails it off to them. He also responds to the letters when they ask questions, so I don't have to think about it. Inshallah, when the pandemic slows down a little bit more, then I'll be going into the prisons a few times myself to help motivate the brothers. So we're not going to spend too much time talking about that either right now. But that's the function. His function is he visits the prisons and he provides responses to the people that are in the prison on whatever they need. They need advice or they need some literature or whatever. Most of the time they're just hungry for literature. The next one is we want to talk about the current projects, events, and activities. We just this past week completed the new food staging area, which means that instead of putting the groceries bags together in the multi-purpose room, we're doing it out under. We built a canopy, we paved it with ceramic tile, put the tables and everything there, and so they can the sisters, it's only sisters doing it. They do it on the outside now in the nice weather, and what's connected to that is now we're transforming. We're renovating the former multi-purpose room into a professional, formal, really dressed up conference center. It's going to be beautiful. You can go take a look when you get ready to leave and see it and get an idea of what it's going to look like. I mean, it's going to have the double glass hotel type doors, you know, so it'll be locked. There's not a room for play or anything like that. But anybody who attends this masjid can utilize that. We're having a larger big screen TV put in there, have presentations. You don't have to reserve it. Just be a part of this community and say you need to get into the conference center, and then some official will open the door for you. Go in there and have your meeting. Alhamdulillah. Where it's not going to be suitable for walimas or anything like that. Just meetings. You know, even if it's personal, you want to have a family meeting. You got your relatives. You want to sit down and talk to them. Whatever you want to use it for, a formal meeting, and the atmosphere is going to be completely different. It should be ready. Between now and the next 2 weeks, it'll be done, inshallah, with everything, the carpet, the furniture, everything, inshallah. March the 20th, Festival of Hope. That is the one, it's called Welcome Home. We're trying to encourage brothers and some sisters, but mostly brothers we've been in contact with, that were formerly incarcerated to try harder to make an impact on the community. And what we're doing, we strategically lined up about 5 or 6, maybe 7 brothers, Muslim brothers, who used to be incarcerated, that's doing so much for Islam, you know, and their message will be, look, if I can do it, you can do it, you know. So we want them to inspire the young brothers and let them know we welcome you home, young and old. The only brother, one of the speakers is here right now, Brother Abdul Hakim Mutalib. He's here right now. He's one of the speakers. You know, and everybody knows him, and that's another strategy that we had. We got brothers who speak on the program that many people in the neighborhood knew them before they were Muslim. You know, so they have something to compare it to. So I know he didn't get advance notice, but if he doesn't mind, I'd like for Brother Abdul Hakim to say a few words and talk about his involvement and why him and other brothers speaking at this festival is kind of important. Give him this mic.
I don't need no mic.
Yes, you do.
I got a heavy voice, and I don't feel comfortable with the
Then
mic.
you don't have to just sit over there and talk to him.
Oh, okay.
Or give him the other one.
I don't feel comfortable with a mic. Salam alaikum.
Hold it up.
Salam alaikum. May Allah bless us all. Imam Qasim was mentioned, you know, that many of the brothers that's on that roster had been to prison. You know, me, myself, I went to prison, but we talking about 1975, when many of you wasn't even born, and I never been back. You know, I told my friends when I left that I ain't never coming back to this place. And that was something, a good trait within inside myself to understand that I wasn't a bad person. I got into a bad situation. It cost me some time in my life. It cost me time away from my family. It cost me time away from my community. It cost me time to not even be able to grow in a certain way that I see people grow today, kids and stuff coming up. That's a lot of time wasted. You take 10 years off a man's life, you know what took his life. You done took his life. So my thing is have always been, since I came out, to never see another young man go to prison. My nephews, my brother. One of the first things that when I came up for parole, I ain't gonna take too much more time, remember? When I came up for parole at that time, I want to share a little something with you. I had just made I hadn't made Shahada in there. I made Shahada when I got out at Warren D. And, but I was sitting with the brother that made me the Muezzin, right in there, made me Muezzin. I read a story about Bilal, you know, and I enjoyed that, how Bilal was a slave and how he was persecuted, you know, and I can relate to that. I'm used to these tears. I like it. they fertilize the beard. At that time, you know, I came up for parole, and the man who was over the whole unit called me and he said, "Tommy Martin," this was what he said. I can always remember this. He said, "Tommy Martin." I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "If I let you go home, what are you going to do?" I said, "The first thing, sir, I'm going to make sure my little brother never come in." My little brother never would do it. After all the drive-by, that's when I came back home, during the drive-by era, when things was crazy. You couldn't even walk the street unless you were just looking around to see what you going to be the next one to get popped. Even me. I was taking some trails. You know, I came out there penitentiary, chest out, you know, lost man's out chest, but I kept that on my mind. I wasn't out there because I was bad and with an expanded chest. No, I was out there because Allah gave me this opportunity to come back where I want. But anyway, when he told me that, he said, "Well, go back to your cell," and I'm going to make this real quick. "Go back to your cell, and then we're going to review it," and so and so and so on. I stood back up. We was in a tent city during that time. We wasn't in the building. They had us in tent cities. The penitentiary was so full, they had made tent cities now. So in tent cities, that's where I was getting my life prophet, you know, in the desert, you know. I'm looking up at the stars, you know, and I'm like, you know what? I said, "You know what, Allah?" I said, "If it meant for me to be in here the rest of my life, now that you've made me feel the way I feel, let it be." Next week later, I came up under a special review. They had gave me the set-off. He had gave me a set-off. No, he didn't give me the set-off. I had got a set-off. Then the next review is when he was asking me that question. You have to understand, this is back during in the years, you know, is going. But I said that, and I really appreciate that Allah let me come back home to number one, my mother. My mother. May Allah bless her, she gone, but she got to see me come back. A lot of brothers, their mother never, I see them crying all around, and I'm going to let it go like And I want to say one more thing. Outside of my mother in this community, that man and his wife has been the biggest help. I keep saying that I was awful. But when you circulate in this community, no masjid, many times, Imam Qasim Ahmad, the brothers over there at Warren D, that's a tip. You caught in this community, you working in this community, you going to sleep in this community, you waking up in this community. You looking at all the people that you grew up with in this community. This is the everyday life in this community, not nobody else's community. This is why I'm here today. He said, community meeting. That I got to go to work. I'm going to run out here real quick. I'm part of the community, whether I like it or not. My mother fed me, her friends within this community, and many more. This is my community. So with that, I just wanted to say that now. The tears don't stop me. I love it.
I got to say something. I'm not on the program. I'm glad you came. I'm glad you came. When I came to the community, I'm not on the TV, but that voice, these voices, all of these brothers, this is my family, the sisters. When I came, I had gone to other masjids, and I told my husband at the time, I said, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. And he took me to the closest one where we lived at the time. He brought me here. When I came here, Sister St. gave me the biggest, warmest welcome, hug. And we are huggers. You saw, we're huggers. And we can't hug the brothers, but they feel the love. And their family. That voice, when he prays for us, when he calls the adhan, nobody can call it like he called it. Nobody can call it like he called it. This is home. Like I said, this is home. These brothers. This is home. These sisters.
Well, I gotta say, I like hugging sisters. Okay, let's move along because what I like to do, with your permission.
When you hug, you hug all of us.
That's the only way she'll have it too. What I like to say is, with your permission, where I like to delay this month to 2 o'clock. That way, Ryan will close the meeting shortly, and we can eat our lunch, and then clean up, and then have a door prayer at 2 instead of 1. Is that okay with everybody? Okay. On the same topic, the e-flyers are already in the social media. Those of you who received that e-flyer, the one that you see in front of you now, if you get a text or WhatsApp with it, please forward it to all of your contacts. And the Muslim Journal has already made this a national event. They're international. Actually, they're advertising this all over the world, wherever they distribute their papers. She gives a very, very special rate because I'm friends with the editor. But also, not only so I request your assistance with social media. The physical flyers that you see in front of you, we ask you to put several in your car. If you stop anywhere, you give some to some people or put them on a store counter somewhere. The special guest speakers, Imam Siraj Wahaj called me yesterday. Something came up on the East Coast. He won't be able to make it to join the other 2 guest speakers, which would be Imam Zayd Shaker and Imam Naeem Bey from ICNA. So they're going to be their traveling allows you to be confirmed. Our local speakers, which include Brother Abdul Hakim that just spoke, they're all confirmed. The entertainment is confirmed. We have spoken word, positive poetry, our Brother Talib Thomas, and also we have some African drummers that the Third Ward Shape Center sent to us, and they're going to put on an African drumming show for us during this festival as well. We currently have about 10 vendor booths confirmed. Some of you sisters that have booths, your booths are already confirmed as well. But we do have space for more. The HISD Police Chief, Pedro Lopez, who was with us last week in the program, he's committed. He's working with the principal of the school across the street as well as the HPD to help arrange all of the, and he'll be talking to you as well, you two. Regarding the street parking. It's going to be all street parking. We're not even going to have our own fleet on the parking lot. But that area right now, we park our fleet, we're going to put the rides for children, and floats and moonwalks and all that stuff, you know. Okay, so the whole parking lot's going to be the festival. The stage, we'll have a stage there, good sound, vendors, everything. If you talk to anyone who asks you about, if you have any information about the vending, tell them they can call the masjid, but you can give them the basic ground rules. No pork, no alcohol, nothing risque. You can tell them that, you know. So we don't have to spend a whole lot of time with them on the phone. The next item, which is our next to the last item, is future projects, events, and activities. On May 22nd, we have an event that's confirmed called Smoking, a Medical and Religious Perspective. This is an anti-smoking program. The U.S. Surgeon General has been communicating with me and trying to confirm. He's trying to confirm to be here. Sheikh Walid Besyuni and Sheikh Main Al-Qada from Katy, they're going to be speaking from a religious perspective, and Dr. Amin Karim and Dr. Yaman Abdullah are confirmed to speak from a religious, from a medical perspective. And then the event is going to be in Janet Courtyard. We had the event last July, but it's going to be set up auditorium style. It's not going to be a dinner. Now the next one is September 16th, 17th, and 18th. We're having a Youth Leadership Weekend. The only one I spoke to about that so far was Brother Salim. And I'm going to brief you on that. And you can look on your notes. On the September 16th, 17th, and 18th, for those 3 days, our young brothers and sisters from age 10 to 18, under the supervision of the Youth Development Coordinator, if he accepts it, will lead all aspects of the masjid activities, including classes, prayer, Jumu'ah prayer, khutbah, events, talim, everything for that whole weekend. We did it once in Cleveland, Sam might remember, and we gave the youth the run of the masjid for the entire weekend. Of course, we oversee them, we were there, but the youth did everything, starting with Fajr prayer on Friday to Isha prayer on Sunday. They did everything, and that helps to motivate them to let us, and the message is that the children are not our future, they are our now. We need to start preparing them now, okay? Any other questions or comments before we get ready to close the meetings? Yes, ma'am. Give her a mic.
I remember being in a meeting a long time ago, years ago, and our community, I was in Boston at that time, and we had in our, one of the coordinators, the staff he was the accountant of the masjid. He was the one that runs the masjid. I don't know if you may remember Shakir Mahmoud, but he was one of the emails from Boston, Massachusetts. And anyway, they had in their accounting department, they had a thought-provoking thing that I've never forgotten, was when we give time to each other, Allah gives us more time to give to each other. So if we visit other people while they're sick, you'll find that people will visit you when you're sick. There was another one. Basically, if you want a friend, you have to be a friend. But with the zakat money or the treasury, they said that they had a particular, could have been a Muslim group or another organization that they themselves would give to that organization. It didn't have to be Muslims. It didn't have to be. It could have been some type of form. It could have been, helping mother, children, whatever the thing. But it was a small percentage, and they said that was their source of success financially. So if you give, if our community ourselves here has a secret donation to give, not just to the community, but to another community or another resource that does not necessarily attach to the community, you find that Allah will bring back more money for you to give.
Allah. Thank you. With that being, I was going to talk about the Ramadan iftar, but no, let me tell you what. I was going to talk about the Ramadan iftar, but I'm going to wait. We can talk about that either via WhatsApp or because there won't be any more communities till after Ramadan. Right now, we're just going to wait. But we're making the iftar very, very easy for everybody this year. We're doing it a totally different way. So nobody has to do anything when it's time to break the fast except make the dua, break the fast, and get ready for Salah. So with that being said, we're not going to talk about it right now. We'll send you the details. Those of you who don't, if you're not in our WhatsApp group list for any of them, please give Sister Asena your number and you spell your name correctly. and we'll add you right away, inshallah. With that, there's no other questions or comments. Like Barack Obama says when he looks in the mirror, I'm all ears. If there's no other questions or comments, then I will close with the dua. Give him a mic before we make the dua.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Nadia. My brother is very good friends with Imam Kas. I'm sorry, I wasn't sure what your name was. So my brother had asked me to meet you and your wife, beautiful wife, Sister Saina, to volunteer. And I'm very impressed, as I already told you, with the way your masjid is. And I hope to get to know more of everyone in the community and work with everyone, inshallah. She's shy.
You're very welcome.
I dragged my friend Dunya, so I didn't want to come alone, so I wanted her to come with me.
Well, thank you.
She's shy.
That's okay. Shyness is a virtue, you know. And any of you that have young daughters, don't never try to change your daughter from being shy. Let her be shy. That's less hard work on us when some idiot wants to marry her, you know. So let's close with the dua, which is traditional closing when the Sahabas met. The Surah Al-Asr. If you know it by heart, then you can recite it along with us. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wal-Asr. Inna al-insana lafi khusr. Ila alladhina amanu wa amilu as-salihat wa tawasaw bil-haqq wa tawasaw bis-sabr. Alhamdulillah. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum. Now let's have lunch, and then after we finish, then we can have Salatul Dhuhr, inshallah.